Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the April 16th meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals. If I could get a roll call, please.
How about the pledge?
What? Oh,
Pledge first.
I was going to do the roll call and then the...
Oh, okay.
Here.
Dwayne Hogan.
Here.
Earl Cunningham.
Here.
Glenn Minnick.
Here.
Ray Sabella.
Here.
All present. Thank you. If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attorney Beachy, would you lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. I will entertain a motion for the approval of the meeting minutes from March 19th.
I'll make a motion that we approve the meetings as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, we passed. And let's start in with our petitions for this evening. So first I'll entertain a motion. I don't need to remove it from table for number one, Doug. So the petition for number one is a petition for variance of developmental standards for William Johannes and Jennifer DeMitt for construction of a secondary accessory structure 30 feet by 40 feet with a height of 22 feet instead of the maximum 18 feet. This property is located at 5142 West, 450 North LaPorte, Indiana Center Township, zoned R1B on 2 acres, and this petition was postponed from last month. Petition number one, are you here? If you want to present your legal work to our attorney, please.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful property. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Picture of his proposed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
This is original. Yeah.
And just as a reminder to everybody, petition number one was postponed last month for insufficient notice, so.
Did you get a pack? Melissa, see. Okay.
I sort of remember this one.
Anne Marie's notes. Here's a really good picture of where it's at. Yeah, stakes in the yard.
Let's see.
Mistakes. Nice property.
It just must be going right out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to lay out our pack.
You see this down there?
Yeah, I think they have one. Did you, Earl, did you guys get this?
This is that.
Annie, you have the cards. They're not in my position.
Oh dear. Yeah, see.
No.
How to say it?
Darn it, I want this building.
He doesn't do that, does he?
Notice is adequate.
Thank you. If you would state your name and address for the record, and then go ahead and explain your petition to us.
Okay, William Johannes, 5142 West 450 North, LaPorte. And I'm asking to add a pole building that's 4 feet higher than than the minimum or the maximum,
maximum.
18,
Right.
18 feet for storage of vehicles. And there's not any storage in the house really. So
Are you going to have electric and water?
I didn't know if I had to ask you. I would like to have. We're going to have electric. Water is a consideration. It isn't planned right at the moment.
I would suggest you make the request while you're here for the
Okay.
water, because that's something you have to ask for.
Okay, I'd like to amend my variance request for water also.
And are you going to use the building at all for living space?
No.
Either upstairs? What kind of things
No.
are we storing in there that has to be so tall?
I have collector vehicles and just some household goods
Okay.
and a man cave, sort of.
Is it big enough?
No, it is not.
Zero.
Exactly.
Do we have any remonstrators this evening for petition number 1? Anybody like to speak for or against petition number 1? Anyone for petition number 1? Do we have any further questions of the board? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we grant the petition for a variance of developmental standards for William Johannes and Jennifer DeMitt for construction of a second accessory structure 30 by 40 with a height of 22 feet instead of the maximum 18 feet. The property is located 5142 West, 450 North, LaPorte, Indiana Center Township, zoned R1B on 2 acres, and the building is not to be used as a residence.
Second motion, include electric and water.
I'm sorry, yes, to include electric and water in the build.
Okay, very good. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, you've passed. Good luck.
Thank you.
She wants that junk out as soon as it gets built.
She just wants me out,
And there's that too.
but I won't live there.
Thank you.
Just visit.
Okay, petition number 2 this evening is a petition for variance of developmental standards for David and Brenda Pagels to reside in the existing mobile home for no more than 3 years while constructing a new home. Excuse me, the property is located at 8801 East State Road 4, Walkerton. I'm fading. State Road 4, Walkerton, Indiana, Lincoln Township, zoned at A on 18.95 acres. So petition number 2, David and Brenda Pagels, if you're here, come forward with your legal work for our attorney, please.
Notice is adequate.
Thank you very much. If you would please state your name and address for the record,
The address of this property or address of where I currently reside?
the address where you currently reside.
My name is David Pagels. My address is 6962 East, 150 North in Mill Creek.
Okay, David, explain your petition to us.
There's currently a mobile home on the property we just recently purchased, and we're going to be putting our home on the market, so we'll be needing a place to live in the time that we're building our new home.
How long have you owned the property?
Since December.
You say you're building your home, you're gonna build a home where the mobile home is at, on that property?
On that property, yes.
Thank you.
When are you gonna start that?
June is our expected start time. We've ran into a few hiccups, so it may be pushed back to August, but...
How long do you anticipate building taking?
7 months, 7 to 8 months.
So you could feasibly be into it in about a year then.
Correct.
So you really don't need a 3-year, a 1 year, and if something came up and you were a little slow getting into the house, you could get back.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
That makes a big difference. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly the kind of situation we've been trying to avoid for years, is mobile homes that are changing hands and then continuing the variances with them. So we'd like to keep them in mobile home parks as much as we can. And certainly...
I can tell you I'm not looking forward to living in a mobile home. So... I mean...
we could make that a reality. No. So do you think the 1 year variance would
we have a builder
be sufficient?
It's just we have to get our permits and get everything moving. So
I think in keeping with the president's comments that this ultimately is going to remove the mobile home, which is really what we want to do. And
I agree.
Certainly we can give them a year to build a home and get out of there. I think it, although it contradicts what we ultimately want to do, is not extend from... We don't want to extend from one owner to another owner. This is way better than the previous owner staying there for another 10 years and renewing all the time. So I think ultimately 1 year would be wonderful.
I agree. So do we have any remonstrators this evening for petition number 2? Anybody for petition number 2 or against petition number 2? Going once. Do we have any further questions of the board?
I would like to maybe suggest that that it is 1 year from date of issue of building permit.
appreciate that.
You want to make that motion, Gregory?
I'll make the motion if we're ready for that.
Glenn, did you have something additional?
If you're going to make a motion, I mean, I can understand it being a slight hardship, you know, if he's going to sell and he's going to build. But at the same point, could you make your motion that the trailer is to be removed at the end of that year?
I understand the requirement 1 year from the issuance of the building permit, but I think there should be a due date by which they apply for a building permit. Otherwise, theoretically, they could go indefinitely.
Yeah. When do you plan on applying for the permit?
Within the next 90 days.
Let's just keep it simple. Let's give him a year from tonight. I'll make a motion that we approve the petition for the variance of developmental standards for David and Brenda Pagels to reside in an existing mobile home for no more than 1 year while constructing a new home. This property is located at 8801 East State Road 4, Walkerton, Indiana, zoned agricultural on 18.95 acres.
And trailer to be removed?
Trailer to be removed as soon as possible from the construction home. It's no later than 90 days after construction.
Okay.
We're good with 90.
I'll second it.
I have a...
Can we say no later than 90 days after a certificate of occupancy is issued?
That's fine with me. Certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
Once that's issued, 90 days.
So I have a motion and a second.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hearing none. Motion passed. Good luck. Thank you, Quinn. I really do enjoy hitting that gavel.
You too. Oh yeah, I mean, this is good to get rid of one.
Okay, petition number 3 this evening for a variance of developmental standards for John and Pamela Novak to construct a second accessory structure 50 feet by 50 feet on the side of the home instead of the rear. The property is located at 9423 North, 375 West, Michigan City, Indiana, Springfield Township, zoned R1B on 6.78 acres. If you would present your legal work to our attorney, please.
I looked at the map too, and it gets me back there. It was listed almost as a wet.
There is a wetland back there, isn't it?
Well, right here.
There's water standing up. Yeah, this is
Well, and this isn't accurate. These are
blown up snow.
well, they're collected at a really large scale, so you could be off significant amounts. You'd have to get a wetland
Well, this
delineation.
shows you, the water pressure
Yeah.
that's in the area.
Yeah.
Somebody's clearing it here for something.
They sure are.
Ridiculous. Work.
Guilty.
Yeah, guilty.
Andy, do you have proof of publication on this one?
You could use another structure for other
Yes.
vehicles.
Notice is adequate. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would go ahead and state your name and address for the record, please.
John Novak, 9423 North, 375 West, Michigan City, Indiana.
John, explain your petition to us and tell us what you want to have happen here.
I want to build a barn on the side of the house. My house sits way back on the property, and I can't build it behind the house. So it's going to be a little bit in front of the house, and it'll be a second structure. I got a detached garage already.
How much in front will it be?
It's going to be maybe 30 feet.
Oh. That's a lot.
30 feet in front of the home?
Well, let me say this.
I saw where you cleared.
30 feet of the building will be in front of the home.
Because you
20
cleared.
feet, it'll be even. Yeah.
Oh, so this is what it's.
This is clear.
doesn't make sense.
No. No, it's over here.
It'll actually be behind the. It won't make it all the way to the back of the house.
Yeah, this is a pretty good rendition of the area that's cleared. I see you're also clearing an area to the south of your home, near the road. Is that for anything?
That was just an empty sand lot. That's what, on the south. Yeah, that's been vacant like that since I bought the property.
Oh, there's just a lot of
Just sand. It's just sand.
trees piled there.
That's the trees from where I'm clearing to put
Oh, okay.
the barn.
Okay.
What kind of structure do you have in mind?
50 by 50, 12 foot high.
12 foot?
Water and electric?
No water. Possibly electric in the far future.
No water.
No water.
So you're actually asking for 50 by 50, not 60 by 60 is the... Okay, it's this one here. Yeah, 50 by 50.
Yeah, the 50.
Next one's 60
Yeah.
by 60.
That's right. I did the same thing.
Yeah.
And my opinion when I went through is it's going to be far enough. It's not going to be an eyesore in my opinion because
There's no neighbors.
there's nothing there. Yeah, there's no neighbors to. Do we have any remonstrators this evening for petition number 3? Any remonstrators this evening? Either for or against? If not, are there any further questions on the board?
Nope.
I'll entertain a motion.
Okay. I'll make a motion for the petition for a variance of developmental standard for John and Pamela Novak to construct a second accessory structure 50 feet by 50 feet on the side of the home instead of the rear. This property is located at 9423 North, 375 West, Michigan City, Springfield. So R1B on 6.7 acres to be granted with only electric going into the barn.
I have a motion and a second.
Second.
Second, do we have any questions or comments on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, you're going to pass. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. Petition number 4 this evening is a petition for a variance of developmental standards for Erica Howard for construction of a pool building 60 feet by 60 feet prior to construction of a residence. The property is located next to 5251 West, 250 North, LaPorte, Indiana, Center Township, zoned R1A on 3.051 acres. Erica, if you would present your legal work to our attorney, please. It is next to it. Oh, no, it's the here.
Yes.
The next lot goes all the way to Johnson Road, but hers doesn't.
Annie, do you have the publication on this one?
Yes.
Thank you. No, this is adequate. Okay, you can move.
Within 12 months.
Okay, if you'd give me your name and address for the record.
Erica Howard, 120 East 10th Street, Michigan City, Indiana.
So, Erica, I think first we all are. The property that you're talking about is actually to the east of. Find the address. 5251. So it's the vacant lot on the right-hand side.
Yes.
Okay. And why don't you explain what you want to do to that?
We just want to build a pole barn 60 by 60 just prior to building a home. We do eventually want to build a house there. We want to get out of Michigan City. It's really cramped, and so we're just, the money situation, just trying to do what we can at this time.
So I can kind of see a little bit of a sketch on where you wanted to place the pole building, I think.
So
it's going to be closer up.
Building, we can hopefully put it closer to that utility shed. I think it's a Frontier building, and then the home would be kind of like catty corner to that.
Okay.
We did already get I don't know if it was like a permit or something for the septic system that we eventually want to put in.
Okay.
So we're kind of positioning everything according to what we
based on what the health department decided.
You plan on putting water and electric in this building?
Just electric in the pole building, and then eventually when we're ready to do the home construction, then we'll put the septic and everything in.
And then there'll be water in there then?
Mm-hmm. Well, not in the pole building.
Oh, okay.
Just for the home.
You're not going to reside in the pole barn while you're building the home. I think that was the only real serious question here.
With the water.
So we're just going to store materials and get things in there. Are there any remonstrators this evening for petition number 4? If you'd like to have a seat, we'll have this gentleman come forward.
Okay.
If you would please state your name and address for the record.
Norm Stahoviak, 1711 Ohio Street, Michigan City. Last time they tried to build a barn first, and then it was more commercial work than residential, which the property is owned. I'd just like to make sure this is all residential.
Okay.
And not a start of a business, or I think last time they were going to put in storage sheds and everything, and it just didn't fit the neighborhood. So that's my question, I guess.
Wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome.
Erica, if you'd like to come back up.
This isn't a residential neighborhood.
If you just will clarify for us, this is zoned residential, you're asking for a pole building and then a home eventually.
Yes.
So we're gonna stay with residential, there's not gonna be any businesses operating out of this home at this time?
No.
Okay.
I guess that brings up a question. I mean, normally when people are building storage sheds in a residential area, we always kind of look at and ask for, what the outside of the building's going to look like. I mean, there aren't any pole buildings in this area. I mean, it should look more like a residential storage building with, the appropriate siding that would match the home.
Yeah, we actually, we had to go through this in Michigan City. We live in a historical district, so, making sure that there's the vinyl siding and the roof is the correct materials, everything just to make it look nice and not just metal. Everything, it'll look nice. It'll fit with the area.
Are you planning on residing at this location?
Eventually, yes.
And how long do you think it'll take for construction of the home?
I mean, I'd love to start right away, but I don't know. I mean, it might be a year.
Before you start construction?
And you want to start the pole building when?
I think we'll do that. Yeah, I mean, as soon as possible. We've just outgrown what we're currently using for storage.
Right.
Is the board happy with the schematic or the layout of the lot as far as where we don't really have much of a layout.
Well, I think when they apply for the building permit itself, they're going to have, that's something that Anne Marie's office is going to be able to assist them with. And if they have to come back in front of us because of setbacks or, the building is in front of the home proposed or whatever, I think Anne Marie's office can assist with that, in addition to having a septic review already from the health department. That's my opinion. So if we don't have any further questions of the board, I will entertain a motion.
Madam President, I'll move that we grant the petition for a variance of developmental standards for Erica Howard for the construction of a pole building 60 feet by 60 feet prior to the construction of a residence. Property is located next to 5251 West, 250 North, LaPorte, Indiana, Center Township on 3.05 acres.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any questions or comments on the motion? I want to mention that if this passes, I would like you to apply for an address for this location as soon as possible with the building department and get it posted.
Okay.
And what is your current mailing address?
120 East 10th Street in Michigan City.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Good luck. Okay. I have petition number 5, a variance of developmental standards for Richard and Sheila Minton for a secondary accessory detached garage, 24 feet by 36 feet on their property on the side of the home instead of the rear. And the property is located down in my neighborhood, 15067 South, 900 West, Wanata, Indiana, Cass Township, zoned ag on 2 acres.
Oh yeah, only way.
You said you have them for the next several anyway? Oh, you do not? Okay. Oh, wait a minute. These are all these folks signed in.
Yeah. It's definitely not like that.
It's his mom, isn't it?
Looks like.
Okay, you good to go? Go tell them what you want.
Yeah, I enjoy
Not a sabbatical.
I'd like to see us. I don't think that they are. I don't think I've seen anything like that. You know what I mean? I don't see them like that.
Sometimes we mark the actual markers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know what angle she was
Oh, I
at.
know.
Here's what we have. Just kind of like those. That's where the car should also be. Good place for credit.
Is Doug, is that okay?
Is that okay, Doug?
Are we good? Okay, I apologize for that delay. If you would state your name and address for the record, please.
Richard Minton, address is 15067 South 900 West, Wanata.
Richard, before we ask you about how close that pool is and the shed to the property to the north, because we're all guessing that's relatives, what would you like to do with this additional structure?
It'd be a two and a half car garage.
Okay.
So we have a place to put our vehicles and everything like that.
Are you going to have electric and water?
Just electric.
I appreciate your drawing too, by the way. We don't often get
I'm not a
those.
very good drawer either.
Pretty good.
It was pretty good.
I thought about having my daughter do it. She's a better artist than I am.
This very self-explanatory. I appreciate it. I just want to say every time I go by this property, it's always well maintained, very clean and well kept.
And we just recited the house because we had actually took refinanced our mortgage to get the equity out, so we can go ahead because there's a lot of things that we want to do. So we're really not done yet.
Okay.
So and the garage is going to. I don't know if you've been by there lately and seen the siding, but
I have.
yeah, they did a really nice job. So the garage siding is going to match the house, and
It looked nice.
yeah.
I have a question. So,
Yes, sir.
I mean, we're putting this close to the property line. Do you actually have a survey stake there that
Yes.
that you know?
Yes,
With the
because,
survey marker on it?
Yes.
So
Because
like this picture that we were given from the county, from Anne Marie, you know, the beacon line is never necessarily in the right spot, but
right. Well, they had it surveyed because the people that live on that property now had it surveyed.
Okay.
So there is property stakes there. So when I measured it, it's kind of ironic because when I measured for the detached 10 feet away from the house, I'm 10 feet away from the property line. I might be short by maybe an inch or two, but
So it is your pool, but you don't own a quarter of the shed next door.
right.
Very good. Do we have any remonstrators this evening for petition number 5? Remonstrators? Jim? No? Okay.
He's laughing too hard to talk.
I will entertain a motion.
I'd be glad to. Number 5, petition for the variance of developmental standard for Richard and Sheila Minton for a secondary accessory detached garage, 24 by 36. You sure that's big enough?
I'd like to go bigger, but
there's no room.
24 by 36 on their property, on the side of their home instead of the rear. This property is located at 15067 South 900 West, Wanata, Cass, and it's on 2 acres. He only wants electric only. And know what?
There's no address on the home or on the mailbox whatsoever.
Oh yeah, it's not
yeah,
posted.
on the home they took it. They took the because
Well,
I
they
did
did
have
the
it on the
vinyl.
home, but they took it when
New
they
siding.
recited the house. So that I'll take care of that. That's not a problem.
Yeah, it's good to have it on there.
Very good. And not to mention it's a county ordinance. So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, see you.
Great. Petition petition number 6, a petition for variance of developmental standards for Jeff and Karen Keeling for construction of a pole building with a height of 22 feet instead of the maximum height of 18 feet on the side of the residence instead of the rear. The property is located at 10702 South, 750 East, Walkerton, Indiana, Johnson Township. Zoned ag on 2 acres. You want to present your legal work, please? How am I doing today?
Just fine. He cracks me up, man.
Couldn't help myself.
Oh no. I'm thinking this one.
This must have come back.
See, I drove by this.
Is this coming down?
No, this is adequate.
Thank you. Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Jeff Keeling. My address is 10702 South, 750 East, Walkerton.
All right, Jeff. So on your petition, you want to construct a pole building in addition to, is there a garage attached to your existing home?
Yeah, we got a 2-car garage.
And there's another building out there.
We're gonna tear that building down.
The big barn's gonna come down?
Yeah. And
okay.
We're gonna put it right there in that place, but this one's a little bigger.
He's gonna replace the barn with something bigger, Dwayne.
I feel good about that.
Are you going to have, I see your well's close. Are you planning on putting electric and water in?
Just electric.
And do you have any plans on what this siding, what kind of building you're going to build, what it's going to look like?
Metal building, and we're going to finish the inside with metal also, insulated all.
Insulate side?
Yeah.
What kind of questions do you guys have? I just have to ask again, what are we storing in this building that we need to be so tall?
We're thinking maybe down the line of getting an RV. So
I say fifth wheel or RV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm a truck driver, but I hope to never put my truck in there.
Okay.
I wouldn't say never though.
And we're not planning on any living space. It's all going to be storage space.
Yeah.
Not running any businesses out of there with that truck or anything? Okay.
You sure no water? You want to add to that at all?
No.
Okay. Same with the RV.
Do we have any remonstrators this evening tonight for petition number 6? Anybody here for or against petition number 6? Any further questions from the board? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that the petition for variance of developmental standards for Jeff and Karen Keeling for construction of a pole building with a height of 22 feet instead of the maximum 18 feet be granted. The barn is to be on the side of the residence instead of the rear. The property is located at 10702 South, 750 East, Walkerton, Indiana, Johnson Township.
I'll second it.
Any questions or comments on the motion?
The barn is to include electric. Sorry. Okay.
I just want to, can we include that the existing pool barn is coming down? I want to make sure that that's clear. That okay. Very good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, your motion's passed. Good luck.
Good luck.
Petition petition number 7 this evening is petition of variance of developmental standards for Shirley Drowinski and Donald Drowinski
Here we go.
for continued placement of a mobile home. The last variance was granted on April 19th, 2016 for 3 years at the property located at 7061 East Tulip Lane, New Carlisle, Hudson Township, zoned R1B. Drowinski, did I say that right?
Cooperation.
Very good.
Thank you.
I've been on this, I did. I can drive directly to the transcript.
Now you can.
They did. Drove right to it.
It's the next one that most people can't drive to.
What was that? Oh, Hudson?
No, the same,
Yeah.
right across from.
No, this is adequate.
Thank you.
Drive right to both of them.
Give me your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. Yes, my name is Donald Drowinski. The address is at 7061 East Tulip Lane in New Carlisle.
Okay, Donald, we still have that mobile home out there.
Yes,
And you want to keep it for another 3 years.
correct. Yes. It's a cottage. We use it as a cottage.
Okay, so it is not your primary residence.
No, it's not.
Okay.
How often would you say you use it?
Every weekend. Except come winter time. This past year we did not, because my sister's political. We had a campaign we had to run. But normally we do go out every weekend.
And just to review, what year is the mobile home?
It's a 95. 95? 89. I bought it in 94, 95.
And how long has it been on the property?
Oh, since I own it, I know that.
Since-
And previous owners, they put new in 89. Bill and Sandy did, the previous owners.
Okay, and you've had it how long?
94, 95.
Okay.
So you have no intentions of building anything anywhere? You're just going to keep it for a...
Just maintaining it and making it nice and enjoying it on weekends. I have pictures if you need to see the pictures.
We have them here. Thank you.
No, I
We
mean,
just remodel on the inside a little bit.
the trailer seems to be maintained pretty well. I mean, over the years, we've come and seen it several times, and it looks
Right.
as good or better than it has in the past.
We have like a greenhouse up there in summertime.
I mean, I do want, and I'm sure we said that the last time you were here too, that this is, these trailers are there, and we don't want to put a hardship on people, but it will not be for sale to another. It can't be sold for use for somebody else. When you're done using it, it will no longer be used for.
So you mean once I sell the property?
Yes, you can only sell the property. You can't sell the trailer as a residence.
Okay.
Thank you. I think that's a good clarification. Do I have any remonstrators this evening?
Just for clarification, I'll make sure that
Yep.
we're not out in front of ourselves here. Unless the prospective owner came before the Board of Zoning Appeals and got a variance, which is not likely in our climate, but I don't think that we can tell this guy that he can't sell it. I mean, another person could in fact get a variance, could they not?
They could.
It's possible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's not very likely that this...
You could not without... You're the lawyer.
You'd have to make any sale contingent upon
Thank you.
approval of the BZA with the new owner. And I think the board's trying to intimate that it's unlikely that they would grant that.
Okay. May I have a copy of that? Or can I get a copy of that?
It's not an ordinance. It's
It's
a
not an ordinance,
BZA
okay.
policy.
Just a
LaPorte County's
policy,
trying to try over time go to stick-built structures rather than mobile homes.
Right.
Okay.
Safety.
You were here earlier this evening, somebody bought a mobile home, but they're going to build within a year, they're going to take that mobile home down and have a stick-built home.
No, but I understand that. But when I bought it, I was planning to keep it. You know,
Right, and you can keep it as long as it's in your name. As long as you keep coming in every 3 years, you're going to be able to keep it.
Okay.
Do we have any remonstrators for this petition? Any remonstrators for Shirley and Donald Drewinski? Hearing none, are there any comments or questions of the board? I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move that we grant a petition for variance of developmental standards for Shirley Drewinski and Donald Drewinski for continued placement of a mobile home. The last variance was granted on April 19th, 2016 for 3 years. Property is located at 7061 East Tulip Lane, New Carlisle, Hudson Township, zoned R1B.
Do you want to do an additional?
And for clarification, this is another 3-year.
3-year extension.
3 years renewable.
And I appreciate the fact that you're on time getting here actually a couple days early. Getting in, right in here on time. A lot of times they'll lag a year or so, and it's very good that you're right on time.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Congratulations, 3 more years.
Thank you very much.
And I don't have to remind you, as
Mr.
Cunningham said, thank you for coming in on time, and we're not going to send you a notice to come back in.
It'll be on my calendar.
Very good, thank you.
I think so.
We did this too.
Okay, Ronald, you're up next. So petition number 8 is a petition for variance of developmental standards for Ronald Drewinski for continued placement of his mobile home. The last variance was granted on April 19th, 2016 for 3 years for the property located at 6989 East Tulip Lane, New Carlisle, Indiana, Hudson Township, zoned R1B.
Yeah.
Notice is adequate.
Yeah, see that way. Thank you. If you'd state your name and address for the record.
Ronald Drewinski, cottage address is 6989 East Tulip Lane.
And Ronald, do you actually reside at this location?
No, I don't.
Okay.
It's a cottage. I had good intentions too, but
What is your the address that you reside at?
15820 Union, Harvey, Illinois, 60426.
Okay. And of course, you're next to your brother.
Yeah, twin brother.
Yeah. And you guys use the properties on the weekends.
Right.
And how long have you been at your location?
My location, I bought it in 1989. Bought with an old motorhome or home, and I replaced it in 92 or 94.
Do you know what year the mobile home is that you replaced?
I believe it's in 92, between 92 and 94.
Okay.
It's,
Okay, do we have any remonstrators this evening? For petition number 8, any remonstrators? Hearing none, are there any questions, comments of the board?
Just the same comment we made to your brother that.
oh, yes, I understand. I have no intention of selling, you know.
Very good.
If we have no questions, I will entertain a motion.
Okay, Madam President, I'll make a motion for petition for variance of developmental standard for Ronald Drewinski for continued placement of a mobile home. His last variance was on April 19th, 2016 for 3 years. This property is located at 6989 East Tulip Lane, New Carlisle, Hudson Zone R1B. Could be granted for another 3 years, renewable.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passed. Good luck. You have 3 more years.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck. Thank you. And again, thank you both for coming in a timely manner. Okay, I gotta get my papers in order here. petition number 9 this evening
Good evening.
is leaving.
Good evening.
Oh, I thought you said
You're leaving.
You're leaving. I'm like, Andrew, it's.
She might need
I know we have a rough road, but.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
No, this would be a better meeting than one last month.
Okay.
I'm sure.
So petition number 9 is a petition for the variance
Can't be worse.
Glad you broke that ice.
of developmental standards for Christopher D. Olson and Stephanie D. Olson to construct a detached accessory building 24 feet by 40 feet with a setback of 6 feet instead of the required 10 feet.
This is adequate.
Thank you. Is located at 2722 East 100 South LaPorte, Pleasant Township, zoned R1A and Prairie View Estates subdivision. Good evening, Andrew.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Andrew Volz. I'm an attorney here in LaPorte, Indiana with House & House, representing petitioners Christopher D. Olson and Stephanie D. Olson in their petition for variance of developmental standards. The backstory on this is my client has a hobby, and this hobby has grown and grown and grown into the point now where he needs some more room to do what he loves to do, which is brew beer.
I love that hobby.
Bent Hook Brewing is the hobby of my client and his neighbor, and the current structure that exists right now, which is approximately, it's the existing shed that's there. It's much, much smaller than the proposed shed, obviously, and the reason why we're here tonight is petitioning for a variance of developmental standards because the setback from the rear lot line is under section 1602C4. It's to be 10 foot, and he's requesting that it remain the same setback, the same placement as the existing shed to keep that footprint intact. We had considered the possibility of going in front of the Plan Commission to vacate the roadway. That was determined that was not going to be possible because the farmer to the rear uses that for access for that field back there. So we recognize that wouldn't be a possibility. And he wants to put it there because, again, the shed that's there within the 10-foot setback has been there for longer than 16 years. It was there prior to him purchasing the home, and he's the second owner of this property. He just needs more room to work. He needs room to store his yard work equipment. But the biggest thing is, and he would be requesting electricity and water, obviously, because he enjoys his hobby.
Okay, so this is a hobby. We're not going to be running a business out of here.
No, this is not a business. This is a home brewer, is what this is.
Do you have a picture of what the outside of the proposed structure is going to look like?
The outside of the, excuse me, I caught what you had. The outside of the proposed structure would match the outside of the existing residence, that carriage type architecture. It would not be a steel pole barn or anything like that. It's going to be very aesthetic, and it's going to match the existing structure that's on the property.
I take it there'll be water and electric in there?
That is correct. That would be the request. And again, it would not be used for residential purposes whatsoever, or dwelling purposes.
Okay. Do we have any remonstrators this evening for petition number 9?
Yeah, you do.
If you'd like to come forward. And if you would give us your name and address for the record.
Harold T. Parker, 2602 East State Road 4, LaPorte, Indiana.
What's that? Where's his house? Oh.
What are your concerns?
This is a subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
The people I bought the subdivision off had no envision of all these sheds. It's getting pretty crowded on that land. Also, he wants a shorter setback from a utility line, and I think NIPSCO is expanding their need for room around utility lines. That if you look at the rest of the subdivision, they've done a very poor job of keeping their stuff underneath the lines intact, and so when they have a problem, they have to invade my field to get in there to do
So
everything.
you think they're going to increase that 6-foot utility easement?
Well, it's 10 now for the county, isn't it? 12 or whatever. That's utility line, and there's a lot of problems. That line is, 50 years old, that subdivision is probably. So there's going to be some issues. They've had issues. And I've been kind enough to let them use my ground to do that.
Okay.
And this is still an active subdivision, so there'll be a house behind that. And that road he wanted to close or try to close, that is a continuing road if anybody ever decides to build that subdivision. And nobody's told me the height of this building.
Well, it's going to not exceed 18 feet.
Well, that'd be nice on a half acre.
Well, we'll check
On a
into
half
it.
acre?
We'll check into it.
You guys, if you look at the rest of his property and you guys got a beacon, that's a portable shed he's got on there right now. That thing hasn't got no foundation or anything. So he's replacing a portable shed, which is in the doctrine of the subdivision, with a permanent, awful big shed for that. He's getting pretty close to having the requirements for a house on the certain acres being covered with permanent structure, getting close. So I don't think he should get any closer to that electric line, especially with a tall structure of any kind like that. So
are there covenants in this?
Yeah, there's covenants for that, and that's not.
It's not covered in the covenant as far as.
Oh yeah, portable shed. That's all they're supposed to have. And pretty much.
So some neighbors are.
Yeah, there's been a couple neighbors in the first section that have violated that, but it's always been at the front by their house, not clear in the back corner where.
Or at the entrance.
We have to deal with it. Yeah,
proposed
you can't
entrance
put any more
for it.
interest there because that's a 40-mile-an-hour road. I think there's a thing about that, putting another interest on that 200 feet in there. How many interests in ain't one? And I have 3 or 4 more roads along there to get into that. And as soon as I leave them alone, they become a junkyard, and I have to go in there and clean them up once in a while. So I'm not anxious about how many beer bottles, I don't know. Isn't that one?
Stop going down there.
Taking one down and throwing it and go around, I don't know. I think it's a great hobby, but that's an awful big shed for a hobby. I mean, you got 2.5 cars, you got a garage on his house, you got a hobby, you got this. It's an awful lot for a half an acre of subdivision road. And that still is an active subdivision. I pay taxes on every lot.
Very good.
Thank you very much for your time.
To answer one of the questions that I'm sure is coming, the structure would not be 18 feet tall. It would rather be between 10 and 12 foot tall. There would be no need. He has no need for height. He's not looking for that. And respectfully, I would disagree with Mr. Parker's position that if this variance was granted, that it would be approaching the lot coverage.
Easement?
Well, the utility easement is there, and it's 6 foot on each side. And I think that that's important to point out here is that he's not on the easement right now, and he doesn't have any intention of going on the easement. The easement is 6 foot on my client's property and 6 foot on Mr. Parker's property. And again, respectfully, what the neighbors or the other individuals in the subdivision are doing to block this easement, that's not part of the petition here today. And I understand, and believe me, I understand when somebody's going to interfere with an easement, NIPSCO's not going to take a very...
they don't.
They're going to go the straight path in, and they don't care what happens. And with regards to garbage and beer bottles, if you know anything about anybody that does any home brewing, they're not throwing beer bottles away because the beer bottles are expensive. So again, we would just respectfully request that the variance for developmental standards be granted. And then the other issue that I want to make clear is with the fact that this is a quote-unquote plotted roadway there. The concern that I have then, and I may have to amend the petition orally here, is that if he only has a 10-foot side setback from the road, I believe he needs to, if that road were to go active...
It would be edge of pavement.
Yes, and that's where this is difficult because the road isn't active. It hasn't been active, and in fact, quite frankly, it's been planted for many, many years.
Platted but not improved.
Planted is what I...
Right. But I'm saying it's platted but not improved.
Correct.
How tall did you say the roof would be?
Between 10 and 12 feet. He's going to be well short of 18.
So we could say not to exceed 12 feet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that would be well within what my client would be able to use.
This would be a gable road?
There's no reason. Well, that's the reason why it was easier, though.
I'm looking for a reason why you want the 6-foot setback rather than a 10, because I don't see anything in front of the structure.
And I anticipated that question, and the reason is he'd like to keep the shed as far back on his property as he can away from his residence. So he's going to lose 4 feet if he goes the 10 foot off, but regardless, he's still going to need a variance for that unimproved roadway if it were ever to get paved.
I understand that. Well, I think that would be grandfathered in.
Okay.
That would be.
So he just and I don't mean to sound like a smart aleck. He just wants to.
He wants to keep it in the same spot that it is. Yes, he wants to have it as far back on his property as he can.
Is he in violation of setback now?
No, because the shed where the shed sits now, the smaller detached accessory structure sits now.
With 10 foot from the setback.
Correct.
Okay, so it's not going to be where it is now because he was conforming with the setback prior to this request, right?
If I might, when I look at the drawing, it looks like the current shed is a 6-foot setback.
It's 6.
It's right.
It's still 6 though. It was 6 then. It's 6.
Oh, so he was in violation to begin with? Okay.
Utilities was.
Want to make sure we're clear.
I mean, I don't know how long it's been there.
The shed's been there for longer than 16 years, so I don't know the last time
well,
that
maybe it was before we did the setbacks.
Right.
Okay.
It was.
So to clear up the record, it's not that he was in violation, it's just that the setback was different 16 years ago, we assume.
Well, we're making that assumption, right?
Thank you.
It wasn't less.
Back in '94, it was 3 feet to the side, 3 feet to the rear, 5 to the side. You know that back in the mid-90s. So.
Okay, do we have any additional remonstrators? Hearing none, I will, if there are no further questions or concerns of the board, I will entertain a motion.
I have a problem with this only because there's no hardship, there's no reason to move it within 6 feet of the line. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me why we're making normally it's because there's a septic field or there's a well or there's something in the way, but there's nothing in the way. And the other problem with it that Doug makes the point, I mean, this is an active subdivision, so you're asking for your shed to be, it's just 4 feet, but you're asking for your shed to be closer to the proposed a neighbor to the rear because the lot behind you is a subdivided lot. I mean, this is an entrance to a subdivision. I looked at it on Beacon, and there are quite a few plotted lots. So, I mean, your shed is going to be 6 feet from what could be a neighbor in the future. So, I mean, you're kind of,
Well, in theory, it'd have to be 12
and
feet.
the owner of the lot, has said he does,
It would have to be at least 12 feet since that 6-foot easement's on both sides of the property line.
Right.
So, assuming someone could build right up to that 6-foot easement like we've done on the other side.
But you still have the 10-foot setback.
Right.
So it should be, that's the point of a setback, so it's going to be 20 feet between the structures between the two lots.
But it would, even if we granted some crazy variance in the future and it was still the other half of that 6-foot variance, it'd still be 12 minimum.
Again, my biggest thing is we're not asking for any reason. There's no hardship for us to be granting it move closer to a neighbor, so.
But, Mr. Minnick, respectfully, there is no neighbor back there now. The neighbor
But it's a
is
lot
cornfield.
that's for
I
sale, and the
understand that.
neighbor is actually here. He's the owner of the lot.
Again, part of the concern is the side setback, and I guess that's probably one of the most important things here, is that not only is it the 6 foot on the rear, but then that he be allowed to be 10 foot from the side of where the unimproved roadway is. Because if it ever gets paved, then it would have to be grandfathered in. But that's what his concern is that can he place that there as it sits now, even if he has to move forward 4 feet? He wants to keep it just as a 10-foot setback from the side lot. Yeah.
I see what he's saying.
So would you check with your client if that's acceptable if we just change this from 6 feet to 10 feet and not have any adjustment on the side? Is that acceptable?
Yard.
Absolutely.
I think that resolves your issue then, correct?
So-
pushes it back up here.
We would move it 10 feet
instead of
north
6.
of the
10 feet north of the, not of the easement line, 10 feet north of the property line.
Right.
So 4 foot is going to move.
Right.
Right, so we just simply withdraw the request for variance on the 10 foot.
Right.
Rear setback.
And then we don't need to be concerned about
the side.
If they're so inclined, I'm going to draft this so that any current setback shall not be affected if the road is paved.
Okay.
That should cover us if they pave.
Okay.
Now you're moving forward, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think Doug can make a motion, so does anybody want to make a motion for us?
Do what he did. It's good.
Madam President, I move that we approve the petition for variance of developmental standards for Christopher D. Olson and Stephanie D. Olson to construct a detached accessory building 24 feet by 40 feet with a maximum height of 12 feet. I'm going to change that to 14 just to give you a little allowance. It's not going to be 18's our top, and he said he won't need that, but I don't want to concern if it's 12.6. So let's make it 14 feet maximum. And we're going to change the setback to 10 feet instead of 6. Property is located at 2722 East 100 South LaPorte, Pleasant Township, zoned R1A in Prairie View Estate Subdivision. And the siding will match the home, and there will be water and electricity approved.
I'm just going to show that the petition for variance on the 6 foot is withdrawn. I think it'll be cleaner that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Just show it as withdrawn and then.
I'm just going to cross through it.
Cross it off.
Yeah.
Okay. But then he is allowed to construct
within
10 foot, 10 foot. Okay. We're not fantastic.
I mean, it's not out of, we're not granting anything because it's allowed under our code.
Well, we get the shed size.
Size. It's 40 foot. But no height though.
It's bigger than what the Bill of Residential allows.
Right.
So we're really only granting the shed size.
The shed size, and then confirming in the motion that the
It's grandfathered.
10-foot distance is good even when the road is paved.
That'll work. I'll second it.
I'm looking at the face he's making.
I'm looking at his face.
Basically,
I'm not going all in on this.
the motion is, as I understand it, is for the 10-foot side setback to be in place even if the road is paved.
Correct.
That's
And the size
And the size of the structure.
size of the structure.
And then withdraw the portion for the
Yes.
6 foot in the back. We'll
Yes.
keep that at 10.
I can live with that. I said 10 feet, so it's going to be covered anyway.
So we have a very confusing motion. Do we have a second?
I did.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Aye.
We have 2 nays. The motion passed. Good luck.
Thank you.
3-2.
Okay. Petition number 10 this evening for a variance of developmental standards for Ozinga Materials, Inc. for a 100-foot lattice-style self-supporting wireless communications facility for broadband internet. There will be no co-locations on the tower and no shelters or buildings at the base. of this tower for the property located at 2626 West, 1650 South in Hanna, Indiana, Prairie Township, zoned ag on 30 acres.
But that statute is clear, we're gonna have.
I don't like this.
It's definitely a T.
It's just
Not clean.
no, definitely not.
It's just like the notices here.
Lattice style?
Statutory prerequisite before they.
You know, like
Thank you. Yeah.
triangle,
Any, what size? Instead of a monopole.
you know, a monopole would be like a telephone.
Yeah, that's right. He's exactly. Yeah, it still fits.
Yeah, I think
Exactly, it still fits. You can't deny him of that. That's a no-brainer. You lose in court in a minute. Right, need it.
he just, I think, wanted to make sure that if
He
the
just
road
wanted it for the
became
record,
paved
that's
and
all he
the
wanted. There's
parcel
no
line.
variance even needed for that.
I did the name because I wasn't sure what the sign.
No, that's, yeah.
I mean, unless you actually draw out
And put it on paper.
what you're covering and give you the percentage.
Okay, Madam President,
Yes,
the notice is adequate. However, since this is a cell tower, the code requires that we get authorization from the airport. Zinger wrote the airport just like they're supposed to, and this has happened before. They have not yet received a response. I believe this is jurisdictional, and I recommend we move this over to next month. And perhaps the building commissioner could call them and maybe prompt them to get a timely response so it doesn't hold these folks up.
out of curiosity, is it only the LaPorte Municipal Airport
Yes.
or is it Stark also?
No, it's just support.
Certified letter?
Pardon?
Certified letter?
Doesn't need to be certified. We just need
We need a response.
what they said.
I emailed a letter to Diane, and then I didn't get a response, and I emailed her last week. Didn't get a response. Emailed her again yesterday, and I called her yesterday and today, and no one picked up the phone yesterday or today at the airport.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and I'll make a. Oh,
You can't, I will though.
okay. This is still new.
You saying hi or what?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Can I just ask a question?
If you you have to wait for us
Wait for you to
to
make a motion, then you
make a motion, and then we're not going to hear anything on this petition this evening.
I'm not losing it or anything, I just want a little bit of information.
I'll answer any question you have. Not a problem.
Madam President, I want to make a motion that we postpone this petition for 30 days to our next meeting, which is May.
21st?
Whoops. just double check.
21st.
May 21st, to allow time for answers from the airport to help with this petition.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? We'll see you next month.
Just answer her questions.
Very good.
Oh,
Okay.
we'll get around it.
Petition number 11 is a variance for developmental standards for Dallas and Patty Lawson for continued placement of a mobile home. The last variance was granted on April 19th, 2016 for 3 years for the property located at 8501 North, 750 East, New Carlisle, Hudson Township, Zone Ag on 10 acres. If you have your legal work, you need to present it to our attorney, please.
Yeah. GPS will say, turn around, turn around,
I know.
turn around. I was getting mad.
Okay, so this one's for...
I think I found 8.
Yeah.
I don't think the orchard people are here,
I just kept driving around to turn around.
What do you think?
Turn around. What?
I do. I think...
I don't know. That's why I said it.
I figured that was the truth.
Oh yeah.
Well, I did too, but...
Do you realize something?
Why would I?
This is actually the first one that he has won of.
I know. No.
There was nothing just.
No,
That's what I'm saying.
that's not true.
Well, wait a minute.
The night I got voted president,
Oh, that's right. He did get that.
when we passed one.
That's right.
Because
But he's
I
had a hell of a bad
I was
streak.
like, you guys, we've been doing this wrong the whole time.
Yeah, but there was only.
good day, good month to be on vacation, I take it. Sucks to be them.
Notice adequate.
Thank you. All right, Patty, if you'll give us your name and the address you're currently residing at for the record.
Patty Lawson, 8501 North, 750 East, New Carolina, Indiana, 4655574.
Okay, and you want to keep your mobile home for an additional 3 years?
Yes.
Who lives in the mobile home?
Me and my husband.
And do you know what year the mobile home is?
95.
How long have you had it at that location?
95.
Since 95?
Mm-hmm.
Is it your intentions to stay there in mobile home?
Yeah.
No plans to build?
Not for us. We're too old. My husband just had a major heart attack, and so...
Oh, that's not good.
Well, I think, every time I've been out to this one, it's been well maintained.
Oh, yeah. I take care of it.
Absolutely, and I definitely can appreciate that. Do we have any remonstrators this evening for petition number 11 for Dallas and Patty Lawson? Any petitioners for remonstrators rather, for petition number 11? Do we have any further questions of the board? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Madam President, I'll give you a motion for the developmental standard for Dallas and Patty Lawson for continued placement of a mobile home. Her last variance was granted April 19th, 2016. Again, thank you for being timely. This property is located at 8501 North, 750 East, New Carlisle, down in Hudson's on 10 acres for a 3-year. That's renewable.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Patty. You get 3 more years. Thank you for coming in on time. Okay.
Last but not least.
I sure hope it's me.
So petition number 12 this evening is a use variance for Jonathan and Robin Drummond, Williams Orchard Real Estate, LLC, and Williams Orchard Events, LLC. Collectively, the Drummonds. Who did? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Well, I think Earl mentioned that in his. Okay, but then and then we added. No, he was just the only thing he was going to strike was the
6 feet.
Yeah, the 6 feet.
Just the 6 feet.
We'll make sure.
Okay. Good point. Good. Can't do beer without water.
So, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Williams Orchard Real Estate LLC and Williams Orchard Events LLC, collectively the Drummonds, and petitioner Williams Homestead LLC, Williams Homestead, to operate a banquet hall to conduct weddings, receptions, community events, corporate events, and other similar activities. This property is located at 9456 North, 500 East, LaPorte, Galena Township, zoned ag on 30.75 acres with a total of 134.95 acres.
Hey, before you start, these consents are not required notice.
Correct.
Okay, so you're just neighbors that
Just
you want
strictly
them
for
to
the
know
board's
the neighbors.
pleasure showing the consent of the neighbors.
I always love drawings.
Yep. I'll explain the exhibit when we get
Thank
there,
you.
too.
If you want to state your name and address for the record as well.
Yep, my name is Anthony Novak. I'm an attorney with Newby, Lewis, Kaminsky, and Jones in LaPorte at 916 Lincoln Way. I'm here tonight on behalf of a few petitioners. Specifically here with me tonight, though, is John and Robin Drummond and the newest member of their family. as well as two entities that are involved with the purchase of the real estate, Williams Orchard Real Estate LLC, Williams Orchard Events LLC, both owned by the Drummonds. The property is currently owned by Williams Homestead LLC. The Drummonds are currently purchased in a purchase agreement contingent upon getting this approval. Any questions that I may not be answered, the Drummonds can certainly answer. So tonight, briefly, we're seeking a use variance to basically have a banquet hall or an event center on this 30-acre parcel located in Ag at 9456 North 500 East. Although the Drummonds are asking for a variance on this one parcel, they are purchasing 6 parcels totaling about 135 acres. Until recently, that property was known as Williams Orchard. It was a U-pick apple orchard. Former owners of that apple orchard have ceased operations and they are now selling the property. The Drummonds would like to purchase it and they have some great ideas for it. First, they want to bring back the U-pick. That would bring back the agritourism that has long been a part of this history's property. In addition, they also then desire to create a formal place to host events there. Although the U-pick would be on the majority of the acreage, this use variance would strictly be on this 30-acre parcel, which we refer to as the central parcel. And if you look at Exhibit C, Exhibit B to the petition shows all of the properties that they're purchasing. Exhibit C then highlights that central parcel, which is in the middle of all the parcels in which they're purchasing. If you would then, when you get the chance to follow along, Exhibit D then will show kind of the existing nature of the property and then what their ultimate proposals are. So on that central parcel, there's a few structures. There's a 40 by 145 barn, 30 by 60 pole barn, farmhouse, and then a 10 by 10 shed. Glenn, do you have attached to your petition? Mm-hmm. Okay. So the second page of that, the second picture of that Exhibit D is a nice aerial that shows those various structures. The Drummonds plan to rehabilitate those structures, but in addition, they plan to tear down that large barn, which you would see at the bottom of the picture, and then build a new one, which will be generally the same size, a little smaller, and in the same location, with that size of that barn being 40 by 145. In all, they plan on investing approximately $1.5 million into this property, rehabbing it, repairing the orchard, and building this barn that would serve both the U-pick and these events. Fortunately, because this event center is in that central parcel, they have great natural buffers. The surrounding north, west, and south, which we believe would create minimal impact from use and light. Specifically, they got about a 1,000-foot buffer to the south, but the nearest landowner, the Davises, have consented. The location of them is shown on Exhibit F, and Attorney Beege has the actual consent. To the west, we got about a 3,000-foot buffer of both land and woods. To the north, about 1,200 foot with the same buffers. As for the neighbors to the east, you can kind of see on our exhibit, 2 of those parcels are still owned by Williams Homestead. They still plan on retaining those parcels. And then various parcels to the east, we received consents. Gary Davis, the Kubickis, the Van Dierendonks, and the Walensky's. So the Drummonds have gone out, spent the time knocking on doors, and have fortunately made good neighbors, and everyone seems in favor of this. With respect to this actual use, the hours of operations, this is in its infancy, but they envision events could happen at any time during the day. Obviously not all day, but at any time during the day. For example, they could have a morning conference or an all-day conference, so they could have something starting around around 8 o'clock. Then on certain days, they hope that they'll have weddings and possible receptions, so it can go to the evening. So with that being said, they would ask for permission to have every day of the week, Monday through Sunday, with the ability of starting at 8 a.m. and the ability to end at 1 a.m. They obviously know that they need to respect the neighbors, so most weddings would end probably at midnight with everyone going out beyond that. But they would ask for that flexibility because this project is in its infancy. And then beyond that, they obviously would like to place a sign out there with the name Williams Orchard Events LLC. They expect that they would likely need a wide sign. So we would request a sign that could be up to 8 by 12. And with respect to lighting, no electronic, nothing like that. They would expect lit from the ground directly on the sign or down lighting on the sign. Correct. So in summation, that's simply what we're asking for, and certainly I'm available for questions, as is John and or Robin.
You'd have to display the address.
Yep.
Madam President, if I may.
Yes, please.
In your petition, you list all the parcels. Are you asking for the use variance on all 134 acres?
Simply the central parcel to operate the event center.
So which one is that?
The central parcel, it's paragraph 6 of our petition. The address is 9456 North 500 East.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Parcel ID is then listed in there.
All
They
right.
will obviously have the U-pick on all the rest of the parcels. That's an allowable use, but the event center would strictly be on that parcel.
So will this event center have a separate entrance, or will it use the same entrance that the U-pick?
I'll let John maybe answer. John,
And if you could come up to the podium for us, please. Give me your name and address for the record.
John Drummond, 1574 Sneed Avenue, Chesterton, Indiana.
Okay, so the entrance to the U-pick and the entrance to the facility?
The entrance to the farm will have the same entrance, right? We'll have exactly the same gate to get in. As you go to the actual unit, which will be used for the U-pick as well as used for the wedding venue, right? There'll be a parking lot to the right-hand side. You'll also be able to continue on into the orchard and pack and enjoy what the orchard is today and what we want to make it.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question. They'll still be able to pick apples. Will peaches be available?
I'm hoping my peaches didn't get killed off by this polar vortex that came in.
I'm hoping too. I live down the street. It's good
Well,
to
I
hear
think
that
you
you're
should
still
come
gonna
on
have some
over. We'll
fruit
take a
over
look.
there,
Very good. Any other questions for Mr. Drummond? Thank you. Do I have any remonstrators this evening for petition number 12?
You got a little one for it.
Any remonstrators for or against? Do we have any additional questions or concerns of the board?
The only concern would be the ending time going all the way to 1 a.m.
I agree.
I think that's a little later than we normally would. I mean, there are neighbors, and it's one thing for them to give,
I'd like to see us limit the 1 a.m. time to Friday and Saturday.
So the 1 a.m. time, I agree. I'm kind of the opinion nothing good happens really after probably 10 p.m., but maybe we'll say midnight. The reason for that is we envision, all right, listen, no matter what, this music stops, this party stops at midnight. But people start walking out, we're going to actually have, there's the Blue Chip Casino is over there at New Buffalo, and New Buffalo has the Marriott and everything. We're planning on helping and bringing and have an option of transportation to get everybody to their different hotels safely.
I think that's smart.
I know how it happens. Like, all right, music stops, and then we're going to shuffle and make people leave, and say goodbye and hug and all that good stuff. And so that's why we're just being cautious on that 1 a.m.
Yeah, herding cats.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
So your firm stop time for activity is going to be midnight.
Right, for you would consider the wedding reception. Right.
How do you feel about that, Glenn?
I just think it's a little late. I think midnight's, most weddings wind down 11:30, and it could be pretty much out at midnight. I think that's late enough for, especially that far out in the country, and you know.
Maybe for Glenn's family.
Most of LaPorte.
Exception rather than the rule
Right, I think.
Not like it's going to occur.
No, it's not by design.
I agree with Earl with the buffer. So
I think it's a great idea. The whole thing's a great idea. I mean, it's
I envision
good for the
like a World
county.
Series party or a Bears party or something out there, so we run it out and runs a little bit late. Well, it runs a little bit late or something, you'll still be there. So,
well, part of that,
Hey, there's still laws about, you know.
yeah, obviously we're gonna.
So it's not a big deal.
Right.
And part of the piece of Anthony did a very good job of prepping me and saying, all right, let's look about these components. And one of the pieces I had a hard time about timing is because I do a lot of my work in the city of Chicago and have a lot of corporate relationships. And, you know, for instance, this past spring, we went out to Montana and did a leadership meeting. Well, at those leadership meetings, you get together early, you have a breakfast, you talk about strategy for a few hours, then you go play golf, then you go to a dinner, then you envision like coming back and everyone's sitting around a campfire on those 30 acres and hanging out. And it would just be silly to like say, well, all right, guys, I know we're having fun and good conversation, but it's done. And so that's why I was like, all right, well, you know, I don't know what to tell you.
I understand, and I just want to say to the board, maybe we should consider one of those retreats.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you come on over.
Okay, to Montana. So I will entertain a motion.
Thank you.
Madam President, I move that we approve the petition for the use of variance for Jonathan and Robin Drummond, Williams Orchard Real Estate LLC, and Williams Orchard Events LLC, collectively the Drummonds, and the petitioner, Williams Homestead LLC, Williams Homestead, to operate a banquet hall, to conduct weddings, receptions, community events, corporate events, and other similar activities. Property is located at 9456 North 500 East LaPorte in Galena Township, and it's zoned agriculture on 30.75 acres within a total of 135 acres. And the hours of operation, 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. Sign no larger than 8 by 12, lighted from the ground.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments, concerns on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations. Yes.
I'd like to thank you for your investment in LaPorte County and how quiet your baby has been for 2 hours. That's amazing. We
stored it up for when we get home.
Yeah. we should make a motion that we move anybody with an infant to the first one. You know, we redesign here, but that was outstanding.
Well,
I never heard of peep.
I was going to say, had they been screaming, I might have considered that.
I appreciate all the support. And anybody and everyone to come and visit the
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Attorney BG, do we have any additional new business in front of the board?
No.
Anne Marie, do we have any new business with you? No. Then I will hear a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Okay. We're adjourned. Thank you.